Hey, Denise here. Today we're going to talk about moderation and menopause. So, there's a lot of talk about Moderation 365, about how great moderation is. And I agree, generally. Moderation is great. Whether you're talking about food, whether you're talking about exercise, whether you're talking about sex, whatever. Moderation is great. You know there's a but, right? You know there's a but. So, a lot of times when I hear moderation, but everything in moderation, right? It's generally when I'm talking to a new client who is trying to tell me that it was okay to have 3 beers this weekend, or have a whole night of beers, or to eat half the pizza, or to eat the Oreos. And I want to go, yeah, moderation is great. How many vegetables did you have? Were you at least moderate with that? Did you have some protein? Or were you moderate with that too? Have you exercised this week outside of when you're seeing me? Or are you moderating that too? So, when is moderation great? Moderation is great when you know what the heck you're actually eating in the first place and know that you're being moderate. Because to say 3 Oreos is great, right, Denise? Like everything in moderation. Sure. As long as you can also tell me that you had, as a menopausal woman, 125 plus grams of protein. As long as you can also tell me that you ate at least a pound of vegetables. As long as you can tell me that you drank at least half your body weight in water today. But if what you tell me is that you had a piece of toast with butter for breakfast and a cup of coffee, and then you had a donut for your mid-morning snack, and then you had a half a pizza for lunch, and for supper you had some of your kids' pizza rolls, and then for a late night snack you had 3 Oreos. Heads up, that's not moderation. Moderating means you moderate it with something else, like vegetables, protein, exercise, water, right? So while moderation is great, first you have to know what you're moderating it with, right? And here's where most people fail. You need to have that sense of knowing what else you're eating. And so I think for most people who actually have the moderation thing down, they went through a phase of maybe being obsessive. Maybe they competed in a bodybuilding competition. Maybe they are a lifetime member of Weight Watchers. Maybe, I don't know what they are, right? But they went through a phase of weighing and measuring their food and tracking everything that went in their mouth. They went through a phase of keeping track of how much exercise they were doing, how many minutes of cardio, how many calories burned that was, how many pounds they were lifting in the weight room, how long they were strolling. They knew all the things, and they knew that if they tweaked something, then their weight would be adjusted, right? And they can now, having practiced that for 10 weeks or 10 years or whatever, they can look at a piece of chicken and go, that's 4 ounces. They can look at a piece of chicken and go, that's 7 ounces. They can look at a piece of carrot cake and go, that's 2,000 calories. Or they can look at a little carrot cake muffin and go, that's actually 200 calories. It's that big, right? Because they're not guessing. The issue is that most people who are telling me moderation, everything in moderation, is that they have no idea how many calories were in those 3 Oreos. They have no idea what a 4-ounce hunk of chicken looks like. They have no idea what a half a cup of vegetables or a pound of vegetables looks like, right? So they don't know if they're being moderate or not. They don't know how many calories. So you can't be moderate until you've been obsessive for at least a little while so you can figure it out. And that's kind of the earning moderation, the earning the easy of moderation, right? Because moderation is having this ease about food. It's about having this ease around exercise, right? I know that these 3 Oreos aren't going to make or break my diet because I also had a half a pound of vegetables, because I had a huge salad for lunch, because I had protein with my breakfast because I still got the 125 grams of protein. These 3 Oreos are no big deal. Those 3 Oreos become a big deal when it's on top of the pizza and the soda and the lack of exercise for the last week. That's when it becomes not moderate anymore because it's one big pile of junk food, right? So you have to track these things for a while before you get to have it easy and just know, oh, that these 3 Oreos are no big deal, right? Something my coach says pretty regularly, easy is earned. You don't get to have it easy until you've had it hard for a while. Whether that's you don't get to have ease in business, you don't get to have sales that people literally are just calling and saying, I want your stuff, until you've gone for weeks and months and maybe even years having to tell people why they would benefit so drastically from your thing and having to really educate them. You don't get to have the ease of the people just calling and saying, hey, here's my credit card. When can we start? Not right away. Same thing with moderation in food. You don't get to have the ease of knowing that 3 Oreos is no big deal until you've had the pain of weighing and measuring every single thing that goes into your mouth for a few weeks, maybe months. You don't get to have the ease of knowing that those 3 Oreos aren't going to cause you to gain 5 pounds until you've had the hard of going, if I have 3 Oreos, I will gain a pound because whatever the thing is, right? Until you've studied yourself, you don't get to have the easy. So moderation is a great thing, but only when you know what the hell you're moderating it with. So how is this important in menopause? Take some time to measure. Take some time to track. Whether you decide to track everything or you decide to start with one thing. Now, if it were up to me, I'd say start with protein because protein is going to be your biggest food mover that there is. Are you getting a minimum of 125 grams of protein every single day? And where are you getting that from? I know that the protein shake I make every morning is 32 grams of protein because, yes, it's the same thing every morning. Mix up the flavors, right? I can look at a piece of meat and go, that's 4 ounces, that's 6 ounces, that's 12 ounces, right? Because I've had the experience of having the food scale out at every single meal and weighing my food every single time. So until you have that experience and regularly, like you have to be able to make a bet with your sweetie when they say, how do you know that's 4 ounces? You didn't even measure it. And then throw it on the scale and go, because it's 4 ounces, right? Because I practiced so much, right? That's where you need to get, where you practice so much. So if you're going to start a moderation habit, I would encourage you to say for the next 2 months, because yes, I do believe it's going to take at least 2 months for you to get really good at it. I'm going to be obsessive so that after that I can have easy for years and years and years, right? So everything in moderation, but only if you know what moderation is. Have a most fantastic afternoon.